So I want to talk today about easily one of the most disturbing, if not the most disturbing experiences of my whole life. This happened about 10, 12 years ago. I had just come to South Korea and the opportunity presented itself to go to North Korea. So I had to stop and think about this for a second because I had to weigh out the moral dilemma of this. On one hand, I knew that I'd be giving money to Kim Jong Il and his regime, and in a sense further allowing them to enslave their people. But on the other hand, I thought that I might be able to accomplish more if I could go there and talk about the issue firsthand. It was ironically very expensive there, and they try to get as much money out of you as humanly possible, which just really went to go and show you the irony of the whole situation, that you had a communist government, but you know the the leaders at the top were obsessed with capitalism and hoarding things for themselves. But I decided to go there, and I want to talk about a couple things that I saw that was just like wow, like the whole experience really from beginning to end was just like hard to even put it into words. I've tried to write about it, but really I can't really do the experience justice, but I will try as I can right now. But let's just say when you first get there, they put you in like this processing center, and then they just have this music playing on loop. It's called Pangatsumida, and um, it means nice to meet you. It goes Dong po yorobun, 형제 여러분, 이렇게 만나니 반갑습니다. It's a song that they welcome like the South Koreans. But I mean, the weird thing was they had it on loop for like an hour. So, okay, get the processing, go outside. And the next thing you know is they send some troops marching by your bus. So, do not even think about messing around because they're marching through. And one of them, he kept like going for his gun, like faking you out. And so when we got off, like one of these soldiers, as I was coming along, I'm not sure, he probably knew that I was American, but he was just staring me down, like, and I was like, oh my God, I was so uncomfortable. But, and I just kind of like, put my head down and walked away. But someone told me later on, like, that guy just started laughing his butt off whenever you left him. But anyway, that was like the first little encounter. And then I've tried to explain this to people, but it's so weird because they would take you to spots, and then they would like make a circle around you with people, like a human circle, making sure you couldn't go anywhere. They had soldiers, they had tour guides, and it's just so weird, like they'll show you one place, but you can't interact with the people. They let you know that if you talk to the people, they're gonna fine you like $50. If you spit, they'll fine you $50. If you try to take like some leaf or rock, they'll fine everything. They'll try to fine you $50. Another interesting story is they make you change your money before you go in there, and because you can't use Korean money, so I exchanged for U.S. dollars. The U.S. dollars was like what they really everybody had to exchange their money to U.S. dollars. It's what they wanted, but they actually gave me a bunch of $2 bills, which is so weird because if you're American, you only have $2. You very rarely see $2 bills, but I had like a stack of like $100, $50, $2 bills. But so they take you to like a hotel and this like little mock city. I mean, I've told people like what a mock city looks like, and I guess you can say kind of like a movie. If I was going to compare it to something, it'd be like a movie set because they had like a hotel. It was just kind of like a square. I guess you can say like a quad. On every side, they had like something, but it's like you're the only one there. Like your group there's a couple hundred people, but like there's no one else like living in this area. They basically they had on the other side was like this really small Korean village, and Korean, I guess they would come there to work, but I mean, you could tell it was like a mock village, like it just wasn't real. So, they let you know that you have certain areas you can walk, and you can walk on certain paths, and they're like marked off, and I mean, they gave you a slight bit more amount of freedom there because there was like a Jimjilbang, which is like a public bathhouse. I mean, I go to these things every single week. They're just so relaxing. There's natural water in there. They have saunas, sweating rooms. I mean, it's an amazing experience. But I did wind up going there. But so they said you can walk over here and you can like go see these areas, but you can't do it whatever you want to do. But just times you just be driving and seeing stuff like something is not like right here. Like if you've ever seen the movie Children of the Corn, it's a very very analogous to like what's going on because things are dead. In fact, the even fields that you could see were like yellow because there's like the things were dead. And if you know anything about North Korea, they don't have access to like a lot of oil. So a lot of people don't have cars. You basically see everybody riding around on their bikes and or walking. And then, I mean, I mean, we saw a guy driving a no, driving a car, but the car, they had a fire, like the hood was off of it, and they had like a fire going on there. And our tour guide is like, he's like crying because he's explaining like this is the only place in the world that I mean, I've been in a lot of countries. I've never seen something like that before. And he's like just so distraught because he's South Korean and he knows what kind of abundance is in South Korea. And I guess that's one of the things that really strikes you because if you go into South Korea, I call it the land of a thousand lights because everywhere you look, there is a neon light going. I mean, it's obnoxious, but everywhere you turn your head, there's some kind of technology, something like this or that. I mean, it blows me away as an American to see that much technology in a country. But there, everything was like literally like you were back like 60, 70, 80 years ago. I mean, it was literally like that far back in time. And it's just an eerie feeling. Like I posted a video because they said like you can't film while you're in the bus, but I put the video, like I hung it around my neck as like a necklace, and I turned it on and I was like filming like this, so you can see the video. It's like this propaganda piece, and it's of this young girl, this young schoolgirl, and she's young, and she says, "Grandmother, let's go destroy our number one enemy, which is the United States." If you think about it, it's actually brilliant, the fact that they're saying, well, look, even our school children and our grandmothers could destroy, America, because they wind up brainwashing the people there to thinking they're the most powerful, like everywhere else is basically like a wasteland. So they're really against them having access to like music or movies that would show that what the government is telling them is just an absolute lie. But and I think about it now. This is one of the reasons why they didn't want us interacting with the North Korean people. So when I was walking on that path that they said, like they explained it like this, like you have the path that you can walk on, and then the North Korean people have their paths that they can walk on. So it's kind of like a maze, man. But so as we're going through it, we come up to an intersection, and the people see us, and we see the North Korean people, like the civilians, and we see each other, and our eyes just go wide. And like I'm with my group of people, some other tourists there, and the North Korean people are looking at us, and they're like, they're probably like 10 times more scared of us than we're scared of them, because they actually have, not that they're afraid of us, but they know that they can get some kind of like harsh punishment. We'll probably get kicked out of the country, like maybe find some money, but their punishment could be much, much, much worse, like torture or death. But so as we're standing there, like some other guy, a guard came blowing a whistle, and he's like, "Get out of here!" Like he told us to go first, so you know, we went, and we were just like, "Oh my god!" Like it was just one of those things that catches you off guard. But as I was walking away, I was like, I literally have never seen a situation where people were being like, I would call it being like herded like animals, saying like where you can and can't go. And I was thinking the only time I've ever seen that, like in any case, would be like when they have the cattle and they're at an auction, and they have like little pins for the animals to go through. And I was like, that is so bizarre that like human beings are being treated like that. And then I started to think about it, because like whenever I was there, I was an atheist, and like hardcore atheist. And I mean, even when I was there, I mean, I wind up getting drunk like off honey beer. We were drinking with some North Korean officials, and I mean, we got really drunk, and I was in a really bad state, headspace in my time there, but for many years. But I started to think about this, and I thought, like, in my atheism, this actually makes sense. Like Kim Jong Un, or Kim Jong Il at the time, was treating these people the way you would treat an animal, because he's more highly evolved. In his mind, he thought he was more highly evolved, or higher up on the evolutionary ladder. And just in the same way we'd use a sheep and skim off the wool of a sheep, or milk a cow, or take the eggs of chickens, they're using these people. And this isn't an argument that I'm making, like, okay, so therefore there's a God. I'm telling you, like, I, in my own mind, in my own skin, could not reconcile that with my atheism. And it's not as though I became a Christian as a result of that. That happened in 2008, and I didn't become a Christian until 2014. So that was 6 years after. I mean, it was just one of those things where you come to a crossroads in your life. And I literally refer to that in the writing, like as a crossroads of humanity, where we came into a crossroads. But it did, and it did make me think about things in a certain way. And it's just kind of like one of those times that just makes you stop and like, okay, can I really keep going on and living my life like this? And it was a big crack in the ceiling, like I remember when I came to South Korea initially, I was riding a motorcycle with my friend. He was actually from Bible college as well. And he he had a helmet on, and one of those things for like the jackets that have like the shell covering in the back. And he was taking me like 100 miles an hour, man. And I was like, okay, if I die right now, like, I know God enough to the point that I'm going to go to hell. Like, I'm like, there's no way around it. I'm going to hell the way that I'm living my life. And I got off, and I was like, I know the way that I'm living my life, and I know it's wrong, and I understood it. But it's just one of those things, like, you just don't want to give your life to God. You don't want to stop doing the things that you're doing. And for me, it was like, okay, I can't say I'm an atheist anymore, but I know this is totally wrong, and I can't articulate it within my atheism. So it was a big crack in the ceiling. I had a few more come, and then I had God just totally come and get his hands on me, change my life. But when I got back to South Korea, I wind up meeting some North Koreans from I wind up just randomly meeting the Minister of Culture's wife, and she's actually at a Jimjilbang, out of all places. I met her at a Jimjilbang, and so she was telling me that they just came from like this North Korean group, and I was like, oh man, I would love to get involved. So wind up supporting one of the families there financially, and we also did things like teaching English to the kids and just having various uh, drives to get like food and clothes or whatever. But I also got to tell some of the stories. I mean, you can see some more of the stories on my channel. It was Thanksgiving this week, and see, Thanksgiving was Thursday, today's Sunday, and I was just thinking, like, even if you don't have a lot, like, the fact that you can wake up and do something like eat food and have clean running water, you don't even realize, like, how blessed you are in so many different ways. As bad as your life is, there are people who would trade their lives with you in a heartbeat. I mean, I've been to Haiti. I've seen some of the most unbelievable conditions that people live in. So I know that I'm not out of line to say that's true. Like, I've seen it firsthand. I've seen it in North Korea. I've seen that oppression. Because sometimes I might talk about America, and I might talk about like the arrogance and the pride and the materialism that comes out of America, and the filth that winds up going around the world. And I might rant against the government just because I've seen things from a different perspective overseas. But situations like that, you're like, man, those people are being prevented from being what they could be. Like, they're not given the opportunity to think and to travel and to explore. And for all the bad things we might say about America, like, one thing that America's been amazing at is giving its citizens opportunities to do things, whether it's travel, whether it's getting education. And living overseas helped me to be so grateful for that, but of course it's out of love that I might talk about some things that, need to be addressed, because if you just say we're the best, we're the greatest, and all that stuff, it doesn't really help you. You may think it helps you, but it really doesn't. Not even slightly, because if you get to that point, then you're just going to think, I know everything and I can't learn from anyone else. Or, just in your own personal life, if that's the way you behave, then you're going to be like a narcissistic person, and you're going to say, well, I'm more valuable than other people. So, I think in life, just we got to say everybody has value, everybody has worth in God's eyes. Like, even if the government doesn't accept people's worth, we got to say in God's eyes, these people have worth. So it's part of the reason why I'm making this video. I didn't talk about it for many years because it was like, I mean, put it like this, like 2 weeks afterwards, I would have like nightmares, and I would wake up like in the middle of the night and like a cold sweat. And I was dreaming about that I was back there stuck in North Korea.